Hello there. Today I'd like to talk about how to use the student sorter for graduation planning, and in particular I want to look at some of the features of the student sorter that make it very easy to find students right at the cusp of graduation. And so we're going to look at how we can determine whether or not a student is on track or off track for graduation, and that's going to help us with our planning. So there are really three things that we need to look at when considering whether or not a student is on track to graduation or not. The first thing is attendance, and in the student sorter columns BA through BI are our attendance columns. And obviously students with better attendance stand a better chance of graduating on time. And we have a handy attendance year-to-date filter where it's possible to filter for students with 90% and above attendance, or 80% and above attendance, or any number of other thresholds to really zoom in on students who meet certain attendance criteria. And the next metric that's important to look at when considering graduation is credits. And credits, obviously students need 44 credits distributed across multiple disciplines to graduate with a New York State Regents diploma. Column BU contains the total number of credits a student has earned to date on their transcript, and column BV is that number plus the number of credits that are currently on the student schedule. So the difference between these two columns are the number of credits the student is currently enrolled in. So if they pass everything on their schedule, column BV is the number of credits they will have at the end of the term. So students who are far from 44 credits or in their senior year of school will have a tough time graduating on time. The final metric that we want to look at are the number of regents passed by a student, and we have many columns dealing with that. The best summary column is probably column DQ, which contains the number of regents passed at a 65 or higher out of the total 5 regents required to graduate. So students who have all 5 of their regents, or have a 5 in this column, are students who have fulfilled their basic regents requirement. So let's look at how we can combine these 3 columns, or these 3 metrics, to zoom in and find students who are well on their way to graduate, and then we'll do the same thing for students who will require some additional support in order to graduate. So first we're just going to look at the 2016 cohort, because for this case we're going to just start by planning for our seniors. Next, let's look at credits. So for credits, let's imagine that students earn roughly 10 or 11 credits a year. So we're going to look for students who are 10 or 11 credits away from 44 credits. So let's filter anyone who has fewer than 33 or 34 credits. And that should give us the students who are well on their way in terms of credits towards graduation. Next, we're going to move on to regents. I'm going to look at students who have, let's say, 4 or 5 regents. And again, we're looking for students who are well on their way to graduating. So these are students who, if they pass their classes, they're fine. In this case, there are 3 students who haven't passed all 5 of their regents. If we needed to, we could zoom in and just look at those 3 to figure out what regents they have. And we can look at column DT to show us that. So it looks like this student needs math, this student needs ELA, and this student needs +1, which means they can take it. Really, they have a lot of options. So let's go back out. So far we're looking at students who are fine in terms of credits because they have a year's worth of credit ahead of them and they have a year to do that. We're looking at students who have 4 or 5 regents, so they're well on their way to completing that requirement. And now let's just double check for attendance. So we're going to look at, because we don't have year-to-date attendance yet for this year, we're going to look at last year's attendance. So we're going to look for anybody who has above an 80% attendance, and in this case that's actually all of these students. So we're not going to filter anyone out for attendance. So here in this hypothetical school, we have 16 students in the 2016 cohort who are well on their way to graduating. So now let's look for the counterpart of these students. We're going to now look for the students who are seniors who we are concerned will require some additional support in order to graduate on time. So these are students who either have poor attendance, who potentially are missing many regents, or who are behind in credits, or some combination thereof. So what I'm going to do is reset my filters. I'm going to turn filters off by highlighting the second row and clicking the filter icon. Then I'm going to turn those filters back on. And what that does is it clears all the filters in the spreadsheet. And this spreadsheet is very wide, so it's easy to forget to clear out filters. And we don't want to miss any students accidentally. So again, we're just going to look for the 2016 cohort because we want to look at our rising seniors. So now we're going to filter for students who are short on credits. We could do this by taking credits off, or we could take advantage of Google's new filter by condition, which of course we're going to do. So we can choose a condition such as less than or equal to, and the value we could say is less than or equal to 33 credits. And now this will filter out anybody who has more than 33 credits. So now we're left with our students who potentially need to do some credit recovery in order to graduate on time, and some of them are so far behind that a June graduation is probably unlikely. Next, we will check regents, and here we're going to, since we're looking for students who are in danger of not graduating on time, we are going to get rid of students who have already completed 5 or 4 regents, and so now we're going to look at students who have 2 or more regents to pass. And now our list is about 14 students, and we can check their attendance to see if any of these stand out as particularly worrisome. And there definitely are a few. So really anybody here who's under 80% or close to 80% are students who were extremely worried, are just not coming to school enough in order to move forward towards graduation. So just to review, we looked at 3 metrics in the starter. We looked at attendance, we looked at credits, we looked at regents accumulation. We found groups of students who are well on their way to graduating this June, and we found students who will need significant support in order to make that goal. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you will continue to use the New Vision Sorter to identify students for strategic support in your school and make sure that all kids have a personal plan for graduation. Thank you very much.